Welcome to this edition of Talk Business and Politics. On this week's agenda, Attorney General Tim Griffin, cybersecurity, a drug abuse initiative, and a new tribute to a World War II hero from Arkansas in advance of Veterans Day. Plus, what's the Attorney General's take on the outcome of elections in Arkansas and nationally? Did they bring any changes for reforms? We'll also take a look at some of the biggest business headlines of the last week. Stick around for the next half hour. We'll talk business, politics, and much more. Welcome to the program. Joining me now, Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin. Good to see you, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I got more energy than you today. I'm just here to tell you.
I'm just holding it in. You know, I usually come on here and just, woo. I've had my caffeine.
I want to begin with, you had a big cybersecurity summit over
Huge,
2 days,
massive.
National, international here.
Sure.
You've made some staff changes in that respect. You've sent some money over to University of Arkansas at Little Rock. This isn't totally new territory for an attorney general to care about cybersecurity, but you're taking it to a different level. Tell me what is spurring a lot of this.
Well, traditionally, the cyber space that an AG's office deals with is internet crimes against children, those sorts of cyber crimes, and we're still very aggressive in that regard. In fact, we have more people working on child pornography, fighting child pornography, identifying the location of the child pornography. You know, we have a dog, a canine, who can sniff out magnetic storage devices, one of 100 in the world or something like that. So we've got Amber Calmer, our special agent. She's been doing this for a long time. We have some others still doing that, leaning into that. But when I got there, I realized we didn't have capabilities with regard to ransomware and a lot of the other cyber crime that's going on, hacking. And we're never going to be able to have the massive number of people you need to fight that, but we have to be able to help people in some way, connecting them with the people who deal with that, letting them know what the resources are, using some capabilities to help local law enforcement who maybe can't afford certain technology. So there are things we can do in our office to help statewide. So one thing that we're doing is obviously raising awareness. We had 1,700 people register for the Cybersecurity Summit. We are only as strong as our weakest link in cyber. And what that means is it's important not only for big companies and government to have secure cyber operations, but every one of us have to practice cybersecurity at home, updating our protection, whether it be antiviral, anti-malware, not clicking on fraudulent stuff, which
Changing
is
your
a
passwords
huge
on a
problem.
regular basis.
I get it here all the
like
time.
That, right?
My mom, you know, she'll call anybody back who calls her. She'll click on, and I'm like, if you don't know, ask me, right? So there's a lot of awareness that needs to be raised, but also we have to be developing relationships. Even though we can't have 100 people, we need to, dealing with this, we need to have relationships at the federal level, other states, private sector, so that we know who to call. We're sharing information. So we had the head of the federal CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. She's a West Point grad, Rhodes Scholar, Jen Easterly. I've known her for decades. She came down and we talked about ways that we can work together, because her role is to interface with other parts of the federal government, DOD, et cetera.
This is an ongoing thing.
This is an ongoing fight, and we've got to know who to call. We've got to work together. You cannot be stovepiped away from others. So UALR is really forging ahead with one of their sort of lanes of excellence. And you want to be known. It's great to have good teaching in different places and different areas, but you want to be known for something. They've got a great nanotechnology department over there, which has done some groundbreaking stuff. But this cyber opportunity is huge for UALR.
Building the workforce of tomorrow that will lead to some of the protective
and getting
things
Department
that we
of
need.
Defense contracts, working with big private sector partners, Walmart, others. So yes, I gave some settlement funds to them.
Let's move on to another higher education initiative. You got the One Pill Can Kill initiative that you launched up at the University of Arkansas. You're taking this to some other schools around the state. What does the initiative do on college campuses?
So look, we have all these opioid abatement funds. They can only be, they're as a result of the opioid settlements, they can only be used for opioid abatement to fight the opioid problem, whether it be education, treatment, what have you. So the opioid problem is everywhere. It's not just here, just there. It's not just on college campuses, but it's on college campuses just like it's everywhere else. And the problem is a lot of students may take a pill that they shouldn't. They may take that risk, and a lot of the pills, the opioids that are circulating now, are not prescription drugs. Right. They are illicit, manufactured south of our border, not Texas, but Mexico, with Chinese ingredients, and you don't know what you're taking. Yeah. Some of them are made to look like legitimate prescriptions. One pill can kill. Yeah. You literally can take a pill thinking it's one thing and be dead. Yeah. That's the way.
And that stuff is done synthetically in laboratories. It's not even coming from natural ingredients anymore.
That's
on some
right.
of those things.
Let me just
more potent.
And fentanyl's 50 times more potent than heroin. There was a volunteer on my campaigns, a guy, I think he even interned for me, who was a student at the U of A years ago. His name was Will, and he started with Adderall and ended up on heroin and ended up dying as a result of overdose. So what we did is we launched One Pill Can Kill at the U of A with the chancellor, great partner, Chancellor Robinson. And what we did, they were already doing some stuff with Narcan around campus. So what I said is, look, Narcan only lasts 3 years generally. You're going to have to replace that. I said, let us help you with the funds. Let's have a full day. So we did a press conference raising awareness, getting the news coverage. Then we had training for law enforcement in the region. And then we had a big event where we bought food for students. That's a winning combination.
Is it pizza or tacos?
Slim Chickens.
All right.
I think it was Slim Chickens. Anyway, we got them in. I love Tom Gordon. He's a good friend of mine. Anyway, we got the Slim Chicken. He started idea on a napkin.
Story, yes.
Anyway, so we had all these student leaders, 300 of them, to go out to their sororities, fraternities, organizations, whatever, and be able to teach and communicate on this issue. Now what we're doing is we're doing One Pill Can Kill at every 4-year and 2-year institution in the state that we can get to in the next 2 years. We're going to try to get to all of it. We know what works. We're just going to replicate it, and we'll pay for all that. We just want to go. I think we're going to Arkansas State next. I don't know if they know it yet. Yeah. If we talk to them, okay. So in any event, we're going to do this all over the place.
Okay. I got about a minute and a half left. I want you to tell me who Denver Bull Randleman is and why you're raising money to raise awareness.
Staff Sergeant Denver Bull Randleman. Easy company, 101st Airborne Division, one of the band of brothers, soldiers, born in Rector, died in Texarkana, buried in Texarkana. He's a hero. I don't see anywhere he's ever been recognized. We're going to build a statue to this hero, this World War II.
You've raised money privately for this.
It will be all private funds. It's going to go downtown, and it's going to be amazing. And guess what? Kevin Cressy, our very own Arkansan, who's an amazing sculptor, who just got through unveiling his Johnny Cash sculpture in the U.S. Capitol. He has agreed to do it. We're already working on it. I've got a lot of money to raise, all private funds, but we're going to do it. We're working on the exact location. It's going to be down near our building. Yep. But this is going to be a destination statue like the one that Cressy did of General Darby, William Darby, the founder of the Army Rangers. That's in Fort Smith. When you go into Fort Smith, downtown, you'll see this, this soldier on a motorcycle from World War II. Kevin Cressy did that. It's a destination statue. It's about time we honored Staff Sergeant Denver Bull Randleman. And we even changed the address on the new building. It was 103 Capitol. It's going to be 101, 101st Airborne Division. So we're going to announce this at a press conference. And I'm so excited about this. We've got to honor those who are worthy of honor, and we've got to communicate the service and sacrifice.
We also have to take a commercial.
Happy Veterans Day.
We have to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk more with Attorney General Tim Griffin on some national and state politics and the outcome of the elections. We're back right after this. The Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin, let's talk about what you saw on election night, Tuesday night. First of all, I think mercifully for the country, the decision did not stretch out over days for a presidential race, but Trump reelected, the math favoring the Republicans in the House. They certainly are going to do well in the U.S. Senate. What did you read in the results?
Huge opportunity to do some big things on the governance side, but on the election, two things happened. You had Trump win, and you had Kamala lose. So there is no question, in my view, that she was a horrible candidate. I've heard of people talk about, well, she didn't have enough time. Look, I don't think time would have helped. Time might have hurt. I don't think she was a good candidate. She never connected. I also think the party...
I'll push back on that just a little bit. If you looked at some of her rallies that were out there with the enthusiasm that was at those rallies,
Great.
she was connecting.
Not enough.
I'm not saying it was enough, but she connected with people. I think to say blanketly that she didn't connect is a little too far.
Let me provide.
She didn't connect with enough people to win.
I'm sure her family was there. I'm sure the Democrat loyalists were there. She did not connect with the swing voters sufficiently.
Okay.
I'm not saying there's not a person that didn't like her. Clearly, Biden picked her as VP. Somebody likes her. I'm not saying that. But she did not connect in a way necessary to win the presidency. Let me say this:
which Democrat would have given Trump the hardest time?
Well, I'm not here to give them advice.
Well, I'm just curious what you think.
But I will say this: she lost the race herself, and here's how. She had a tough row to hoe because she's been a part of this administration for the last 4 years. But when she was given the opportunity to say, I'm different, I disagree with all this stuff, I've just been polite as a VP, she said, I can't think of anything I would change. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Look, I don't care Democrat, Republican. It should have been obvious to everybody that normal people don't want uncontrolled flows of people coming in over the border, many of which are not here, have criminal backgrounds. But let's go to, that would have been a good place to start, but let's go over to President Trump. He won. Look, I knew it was over when I saw that 60% of Hispanics in Michigan were voting for Trump. I knew it was over at that point. I also knew it was over when she consistently underperformed Biden from 4 years ago. Trump was able to connect in the same way that Teddy Roosevelt connected with the overall population.
And Teddy Roosevelt wasn't talking about immigrants eating dogs in Ohio. He wasn't talking about some of the bizarre things that you did hear Trump talk about on the campaign trail. Why did that not work against Trump?
Here's why. Because ultimately, people feel like, the core of these voters, they feel like he's fighting for them. No candidate, first of all, there's no candidate you agree with 100%. There's no candidate that's perfect. So what we always do is we say, okay, what's the core of this person? And I'm telling you, people around the country feel like, first of all, they remember the 4 years before Biden, and they didn't view that as a disaster. They felt they were better off. But also, they feel like he will get stuff done that they want done. And you can, look, you had Biden and then Kamala going around saying, what you're feeling is not real, the economy's fine. Look, there are some good signs in the economy, but make no mistake about it, inflation has decreased whatever economic gains some people had made.
Right.
And a lot of that, in my view, was attributable to the injection of massive amounts of government dollars into the system, way beyond what should have been. So look, I think
things like infrastructure projects and in manufacturing projects and things that are going to be long-term benefits for the country.
Look, there's no question there was some of that stuff that was needed, but there was never a cap on how much they were willing to spend, ever. And if you're going to spend that, it's got to be eased into the system. You can't just inject that. Look, if you're okay with inflation, you can do it. You know inflation's coming. They missed that.
Yeah.
And
I think a big reason for the inflation, though, was the supply chain issues we had as a result of COVID. If you look at what has happened during that time period from about 20 to 2022, that's really where the bulk of the inflation was caused. You talked to hospital executives that could not get the supplies that they need, and inflation was throwing those things up into a huge... I'm just saying it's not... Well, it's not one singular thing. There were a lot of pain points on all of that that triggered inflation.
Lots of painful. There are lots of painful after effects economically of what happened in COVID.
It wasn't just injection of money into the economy. That was a contributor.
There's never one factor.
Not that one thing.
There's never one factor. But it's not always about the problem. It's how you respond to the problem and how you communicate to the problem.
We've got about 2 minutes left. Let me switch with you here because I want to pull back to Arkansas. Because we've beat this horse pretty good right here. What did you read in the Arkansas results? Overwhelming victories for Republicans here. There was a one Democrat gain in a House seat, but it's honestly, kudos to them, but inconsequential in the grand scheme of the numbers in the legislature. What do you make of the John Bozeman's opportunities, Tom Cotton's opportunities, Sarah Sanders' opportunities now?
Yeah, well, in terms of the people who are on the ballot, look, we're a center-right state. We're a conservative state. I hear a lot of people, you may or may not hear from them, but I hear a lot of people that say, I want to move to your state because I'm tired of living in Seattle or Chicago or Portland. Look, we're a conservative state. That doesn't mean everybody here is conservative. I live in a neighborhood that's not the most conservative. Okay, I get it. Lived there for 21 years or whatever, 23 on the same street. But we're a conservative state, and there were no big surprises in the election. And I think it stayed the course. I think the legislature, in terms of right-left, reflects who our state is and continues to. In terms of the opportunities for the state in the new administration, look, I can't speak for these individuals. Senator Cotton's already said he's happy where he is. Senator Bozeman,
Governor Sanders has said she prefers to stay put.
Yeah, Senator Bozeman has a great opportunity as the chairman of Ag, and Governor Sanders, you know, she says she likes to stay here. She wants to stay here too. So I don't see anybody leaving. I can't speak for the governor, but we got a session coming up, and I'm sure she's going to have. I talk to her pretty frequently. She's going to have a lot of big ideas, and I'll be there to help her.
I got to wrap it up there because we're out of time. You're not going to Washington, though, right? Yes or no?
Well, no one's invited me to Washington.
Attorney General Tim Griffin, thank you. I appreciate it. So we're back with more right after this.
Give me some more.